Okay, yeah, there's something very interesting I'll be walking you through creating interactive navigation bar at the end of the day. We'll first start from the conventional approach, then move to the component approach, then move to using variables. Very interesting session with me here. Let me walk you through. Now, let's start from the conventional approach. Now, this is where I have had my home icon downloaded, my profile, then my cat. These are individual buttons that I'll be using in my individual screens and see how they connect or they link to themselves. This I have downloaded using my plugins, using Iconify, of which you can also use material icons, of which you can also use icons 8 and all that. Anyhow you get it. Now after I've gotten them beside themselves, I select them both and made it auto layout. That is kind of the approach I used. Now this just to ensure that it's properly framed. Now in this case, what we want to do is we want to create a navigation bar. A navigation bar is kind of a bar that you can find on each screen, a quick icons that takes you to what those particular what pages all at once. Now let me walk you through how to go about it. Now if I had this already, understand that everything in Figma to some extent work on the base of frame. Now if I have this, the only thing I just need to do is select all them and make it an auto layout. I right click, I say what? Add auto layout. That is that embedded them in a what, a box, a frame. So in this case, probably I want to rename it. I double click on the name and change it to nav bar, that is navigation bar. If I have it like that, I still click on it. What I want to do is increase the paddings horizontally and vertically. Understand that in your design panel in auto layout, I increase my horizontal padding to the left and I increase it up. But the issue here is that I don't know how much of increase I'll put it. But the major thing is understand that your navigation bar is taking the space of what your screen. So let's check the size of our screen. I click on my screen, home screen, check the width. The width is what, 430. Of course, you don't want your frame of your navigation bar to be more than that. So what I do is I click on what this navigation bar and I want to make it that same 430 width. So the first thing I ensure is that what in this part of all content, this part of all content is actually telling you that what if there's changes made in any of the respective icons inside this what frame, the size is contrasts or increase with respect to the number of icons added or removed. So in this case, since you want a fixed width of 430, of course you don't want it to always shrink or increase. So you want it to what? To be fixed, that is fixed width. So I click on fixed width. Now, yeah, I'm good. And I want a width of 430 exactly. So in this part of width, I click inside the box and type what? 430 and I press enter on my keyboard. I'm fine. Now see my width, my frame has increased, but my buttons are not aligned properly. So I just come to my what design panel on the space of what auto layout and click on what this guy here and I'm good. But the one thing I still need to do is, yeah, I think I have enough padding, but the spaces in between the icons is probably not enough. And I want to increase it. I click on this part of spacing, click hold and what drag. And of course, I think 430 is cool for what I'll be doing, and probably I just need to increase the vertical padding a bit to something around this, and I'm fine. So what I'll be doing here again is, of course, probably I want to fill my navigation bar with a color. I come to this part of fill and I click on what plus, and I have it like this. But yeah, the icons or the buttons are hidden. Of course, I'll necessarily have to create a contrast, and of course, and I prefer a green color. I click on this box and I choose, go down to my in my hue panel, hue space, and choose a what, a dark green. I think I'm fine with this color and I'm okay. Cancel and yes, I'm good. Now if I have this now, I want to place it on the individual screens that I have here, and please follow me through this. it will help you a lot. So I click on this guy here, the navigation bar, bring it inside the screen and drop it here. Now, of course, I may have issues trying to properly position it with respect to the bottom and here the center of the screen. Don't stress yourself that much. Just come to your what align options. Position it here is center and here is what bottom, and it's rightly positioned. If I have it there already, now I want to bring it this, I want to take the same thing for the other ones. Now the major thing is just to have this guy or this bar duplicated. But as much as you're duplicating it, I want to still maintain the position. So what you just do is just copy, Control C, click on the screen, and Control V is there already and it's in its position. Come to this screen, Control V is there already. Now if I have this all set like this, now how do I now connect it conventionally? Each buttons to the screen it represents. You get? Now if I have that, I just come to my prototype panel and click on what home, and you understand that home is inside a frame, so it means I have to isolate, so I'll be double clicking. So I have this. Now home cannot link to itself, so to some extent you are in home, so it remains like that in this conventional approach. Now in this case, I click on what profile, click, hold and what drag to show the handle, and it's connecting me to the page. By default, you have this kind of interactions on tap, navigate to, and instant. Don't worry, I'm fine. Cancel. The same thing for cart. Click on it, click, hold and what? Click, hold and drag. Yeah, the same default interactions is fine. So this aspect demands that I do the same for all in all screens. So I come here now, click, hold and what drag to the home screen. I'm fine. Click here. Of course, this is the profile, so it doesn't link. No connection is linked to the page. If I try to drag it, you see it's not sticking to the page. So you don't bother yourself about that. In this case, I click on this part, click, hold and what drag to the cart. Yeah, I'm done for profile page. I come to what the cart. Now let's see what we have just created. Click on what this guy here and I click on what preview. Now let's see our interactions. Now of course home is home and it needs not to go anywhere. So if I click on profile now, it takes me to profile page. If I click on cart, it takes me to cart page. And if I click on profile, actually this approach can be very tedious when you have or a number of pages like 300 or a lot of page to work with. I mean, it can be a lot stressful. Imagine you are linking 300 pages from points to points, from points to points. It can be very stressful. And here I take you to how we use what the component approach. Now in this case, I will show you. Let me remove the interactions on this part. Right click and I say what? Remove all interactions. I just need the same navigation bar here to put in this other screen here. Let me bring this my icon outside. You know, every time we talk about component, we have three parts of it: the main itself, the instance itself, and yet the variables. But in this case, we'll be looking at how do I use instance. I mean, using the first approach, of which is conventional, can be lame. I mean, stressful, cumbersome, a lot of work, a whole day's job, or depending on what you are doing to do. So in this component approach, the major thing I just need to do is link it from the very first start to all your pages, and where I have it copied, it takes the embedded property. So in this case, the first thing I just have to do is make this navigation bar a component. I just click on this guy here and it's a component. Are you seeing these quadruple icons here? Yeah, it means now that bar is a component. Now the only thing I just have to do is double click on this isolation. Come to my prototype panel and I click on my handle and I say link here. Default interactions, I'm fine. Do the same thing for profile. Link it to the profile page. I'm fine here. Do the same thing for cards. And link it to the cart page, and yet you are good already. Now navigate to default interaction is fine. And then let me create a duplicate for it. I'm fine. So what I just do is, let me come to my design panel. Since I've had it duplicated, I don't need to copy it again. I just drag this one, and see something, see the difference. Let me ensure that I'm passing this well. My quadruple icon is the what? Is the main component. A single icon, that is this icon here, is what? The instance. So it's the instance I have to copy. I'll tell you the reason why. Right. Drag it here, Abby, just like we did before. Position it at the center and position it at the what? Bottom. I'm fine. Copy it here, Control C, click on what? Your profile screen, paste it there, click on your card screen, paste it there, and you are good. Has maintained the same positions and all that. And let's see how much time it has saved us. Now, if I click on what? My home screen, I want my flow to start from here, and I click on what? Let my flow be here. Delete whatever it's here, delete the flow, and let's see what we have here. In split second, you see I didn't have to create connections per time. If I come to what? My profile, it takes me to profile. If I click on cart, it takes me to cart. If I come to home, so at every point there's interactions. Why? I just do it from the very first point. Now the much leverage I have here is that what if I change the color of the text now, the color of cart for instance, now I change it to, which color should I change it? Let me say I'm changing it to yellow. I think yellow gives me better contrast. Okay, if I change it to yellow, see what has happened there. It has taken a global change all at once, and the same thing for all. The same thing for all. Now, any if I change the what, the navigation bar itself, the color of the navigation bar. Let me say I'm changing it to a dark blue. I seen how it has taken a global. But in this case of this conventional approach, I will change this one first. I'll come here, I'll change this color first. Are you seeing it? Let's say I'm changing it to a blue. Are you seeing that it did not take respective change in all? Please try and avoid this lame approach, this conventional approach. Try and put in practice this component approach. It will do you a lot of good using variables. Now, if you have think or if you thought, you have seen it all here. Let's see how much variable we do mean. Now, I want to create this. I want to use these icons alone, but I want to detach the component options from it. Now, there's no kind of an options to detach component from these options here. There's no option you have here to do it. So the major thing, or what I will do, is I first create an instance of this. Now, if and I what detach instance. Detaching instance is like saying that what any change that is made in my main component, it doesn't take effect in my detached instance. Please take note of that. So as I've had it like that, so you can see now, for instance, if I change the color of this my main component to what a different color here, I see now that every other things here change, but nothing here changed. So we are fine. So I just need to remove all this guy here, remove this guy here, remove my profile icons, and remove my cart. Let me change the cart back to white, so we don't, just like we have been using, and delete this one here. For instance, now one scenario is if I want to show that what I am on the home screen, of course, one way you show that is what you click on home, just from the home screen itself, and change the color of home to home, because at this point of doing it, you have already removed what they call you have deprived it of color change already from the main component. Because if I kind of change my color here, despite it's a component, it's an instance, I click on the color and I change it to probably yellow. As I've changed the color here, it doesn't take respective change from what the master component again. For instance, I come here now and I change what the color of that to yellow. I see here did not change, but here it does change, and here it does change. But with the help of variable, I don't have to stress myself this much. And let's see how much variable takes us to do. So what I just did, instead of creating component of all of individual component, what I just do is what I create a component set. Having it as component set means now that mm, profile is a variable of what home, cat is a variable of what home. That is, I can switch home to profile or cat at any point in time. At any point in time. Now check your your design panel. You see these same options here. I can switch. For instance, now I click on home, I drag it out. Probably I actually don't want home. In this case, I can switch it to to profile icon. I can switch it to cat icon. Don't worry, just follow me. You see how much we want to do. So I've created their initial components. Now the second case I want to do is I want to create a variable that is a change to options. That is probably when I go to that page. I just want to do it so that I can create a one-point source things. Now I increase my my bounding so that I can create a duplicate, an instance, a variable of all this, of all my buttons here. Select them all and duplicate, and drag and alt. I have it duplicated, so I just need to just create something, make it different from my main. So what I just do is come in here, come to my selection color. Since all of them are whites, I can just create a quick switch and I make a yellow out of it, and now I'm fine. So if I've had them as a component set, the only thing is just create my navigation buttons or navigation bar using these buttons here. But let's just be odd in proper order here. I click on my home. Of course, it's carrying its name, home icons. I click on my profile is carrying profile icons. I click on cat, it's carrying cat icons. I click on this one now, it's carrying variant. So to some extent, variant is a random name of which to some extent you may not be able to relate. I just want to have it renamed and probably highlighted home. So what I just do, instead of typing the highlights h_home, Abby highlighted home. I click on profile, click on h_profile. I click on cats and I change it to h_cat. So to some extent, I'm guarded in that sense. And what I can do is bring this my home icon, my profile icon, and my cat icons or buttons outside. I just have it duplicated as an instance, just like we created a navigation bar in those cases. So what I want to do here is just create another auto layout. Right click and see add auto layout. I've added auto layout. Increase my paddings. Increase my vertical paddings. Now the next thing, I want to ensure that the icons are always in the center. It's in the center. Of course, the next thing is so that it doesn't take respective change in content or text. I ensure that is in fixed width. And since my navigation button or a navigation bar should be with respect to the screen width, I come in here and type 430, since that's what we checked. And the spacing between them is too much. Come here and reduce the spacing so that it contracts a bit, and I'm fine. Of course, I have to give it a color, the frame color. I come in here and I click on plus, and I use a color I've used before, that is the green, and I'm fine. And if I have it like this now, I'm cool. Take note of the leverage I have at this point. If I say, for instance, now I don't want the home icons to be here. I want the profile to be here, the home to be here, and the cat to be here. I click on it here. Just come to this my design panel here. Come in here and choose I want my profile to be there. I come here and choose profile icons. I come in here. I choose home to be here. No, not the highlighted home, maybe, but the home itself. Are you seeing how much leverage variable is already giving me? Now you see how much further I can do. Take it further. Now, if I have it like this, of course, to some extent, probably what you'll be saying is now you should just create the linking. No, Now let's take it before that. We have created variable with respect to its complete content. Let's create variable with respect to its what individual content. Now the icons and the text name. So what I just do is double click on home. Now I want to define this variable. I come to this part, my design panel, and click on what? This icon here. Now name. The name of the text is what? Show what text. And I say what? Create value true, fine. I create property. Same thing for icons here. These icons here, I click on what? The variable here. I click on what? I create a property for it since it's a boolean. I say what? Show what? Icon. I create property. So if I have it, the same thing I did here, I'll have, since I've created a tag name, I have all of them be under its icons and what? Text. Click on this one, come to what? My add boolean property, and I say what? It should be under what? Text, and this one should be under what? Icon. This one be under text. This one be under icon. Let me rush through it. Now that I've done this, let me show you how much leverage I have. So depending on the case scenario, I can determine or decide that what I just want only icons to show here, or I just want only text to show here. So I can click on this part here now and say what I see here now. What we have created property. Now if I choose what don't show text, that's turn off that part. If I click on this part and I say don't show text, that's turn off that part. If I click on this part and I say what don't show text, that's turn off that part. Are you seeing how sweet this thing can be? Now let's see better use case scenario. Okay, in this case, of course, while I'll be using making the navigation bar a component, is because in case I will have to change the frame color or one or two things, not just one or two things, like I want to change the arrangements, I can do it right from this point source. Now if I have it like this, the only thing I have to do is just click on what create component, and I have it like that. Now what I just do is come in here, copy it, Ctrl C, click on my screen here, and what paste it. Bottom of the screen and center. If I have it like that, I click on this one, I copy, click on the screen, paste, and click on this one, paste. I have it like that. Now just like we did in components, I just want to create a one point source interactions. So I click on home, isolate. This profile is going to what? Profile, and this home is going to what? Home, and this cards is going to what? Cards, the last page. I'm good. Navigate to, and I'm good. Just one point source. Now, in this scenario now, I didn't have to do it here. I didn't have to do it here. In just one point source. I click on this play, and I click on play, and see my profile takes me to my profile page, my home takes me to my home page, my cards takes me to my card page. Now, okay, but see, the only thing I want to do here now again is I want to make it that when I'm on a cards, at least it shows differently from, at least the highlight is different. The highlight is different. And let me close it. What I just do is come to my cards screen here at this point here. I don't have to change anything here. I just click on my cards. What I just do is come here and play with I'm using property one. Come here and play with what? My define property. I click on home itself and come here and I choose highlighted one, and I'm good there. Profile, yes, profile, click on profile. Come here and I choose what? Highlighted what? Profile. Now if I come here, these cards, double click here and I change it to what? Highlighted card. And I'm fine here. Now let's see what we do have here. I click on my prototype, I click on what I play and see what I have. I'm on home, it's highlighting home. If I go to cart, it's highlighting cart. If I come to what profile, it's highlighting profile. Let me bring a scenario that I don't want at other page scenario. What I just want is that what the icons just show, but in the main page, just the name shows. Like in this case now, I just hide the name. double click on it and I hide the text name. Abi, double click on this one and I hide the text name. Abi, same thing on profile. Profile is here. I hide the text name and double click on this one and I hide the text name. Abi, on my last screen, double click on this one and I hide the text name. Double click on this one and I hide the text name. Now let's see what we have here. So if I click on my prototype panel, let's now see what we have done so far. So what we have done so far is that when I get to the home screen, it shows this highlighted form and yet it shows this text. When I get to my profile screen, it shows the highlighted form and yet shows the icon and the text. The same thing for cart. Click on my inline preview. If I come to home, you can see the text there. If I come to carts, I'm seeing the text there and I'm seeing its highlighted form. If I click on profile, you're seeing the highlighted form. Say for instance, now I close this and I decide now that the highlighted form should not be yellow. Of course, probably yellow does not give me a good contrast. I select them all, and come towards my selection color. Come here and probably I want to change it to a blue or any color. Now see what I have here. I have them all changed. Say for instance, my navigation bar, I want to change this color from 1 point source. I see how much the red we have. I click on the green and I change it probably to a blue, a darker blue. I see how much I can do from just 1 point source. Ensure that every of your design activities is carried out with focus and yet understanding what you're doing. All these parts of components saves you leverage. I hope it has helped you. Thank you very much for watching. Stay good.